this human condition. We don't achieve our own subjectivity prior to assuming responsibility for the other. And so the big idea that Levinas is setting up here is that my subjectivity, my authentic human subjectivity, doesn't come prior to my engagement with other people. I am not, as Descartes had it, the center of my existence. Instead, my subjectivity is assumed, is constituted through other people, through responsibility for other people. Right? It is in my being responsible to and for other people that I become a self in the first place. And so this last section of the sentence is the confusing part. In the act of election that raises him up to this height. So this election of the other person, the height of the other person, is something that Levinas talks about, the height of the other. And this height implies I think we could understand when Levinas talks about the height of the other, he's talking about the need to respect the other person. Right? Kant says, I have respect for reason, an innate respect for reason, and it's the presence of reason in the other person that compels me to respect her as an end in herself. And Levinas is, again, working against and with Kant, going to say it's not reason that compels this respect. It is the experience of an encounter with another person generally that compels this respect. It is the height of the other person, their distance, their removal from myself, their exteriority to myself that commands respect. And this election to this height, the fact of our being separated, myself and the other, the fact of the others being exterior to myself, is kind of an election. He says this election comes from a God or God who beholds him in the face of the other man, his neighbor, the original site of the revelation. So this is not a very clear phrasing of this. Now, the fact that the other commands this respect or has the capacity to command this respect is a consequence of a God or God who beholds him in the face of the other man, beholds the other, beholds himself in the face of the other man, his neighbor, right? Now, not 100% clear on what Levinas means precisely by who beholds him in the face, but the idea I know is this, that it is in the face of the other that I experience revelation, right? This original site of revelation. And revelation here is an interesting word, a loaded word. In the face of the other, I experience revelation. In the face of the other, I experience God, a God or God with a capital G. And this experience of God in the face of an other, we can think of this, well, without getting into, I won't go down the rabbit hole of Descartes and Levinas, but we can think of this, I think, also in terms of Kantian ethics, right? What is revealed in the face of the other is my own finitude, my own limitations, the fact that I am limited. And one of the things that limits me is the other person, right? We think about this in terms of Kant or Sartre's hell is other people, right? That the fact that I am ethically prohibited from using another person as a means to my own end, but must respect them as ends in themselves, means that I have to put up with this thing that is other than me, with goals that may be in opposition to my own, and I have to respect them, and that there is a kind of divinity in that respecting that difference. So there's a sense of divine revelation in the face of the other, insofar as I experience that I am a limited being in a world that is much greater than I am. And in that experience of exteriority, the limitations of my interiority, I have an encounter with something like the divine, something like God. But there are two other senses that I think are worth noting to this word revelation. First, we would want to think of revelation in a Heideggerian sense. And I mentioned in the last video that one of Levinas's primary influences is the German philosopher Martin Heidegger. And for Heidegger, truth is aletheia, is that which is unhidden. Greek word aletheia meaning unhidden. The original Greek word for truth means, literally translated, that which is uncovered, unhidden. And so what Levinas is implying is that it is in the face of the other, in my encounter with the other, that truth is revealed, right? That the truth for the first time reveals itself or becomes possible. And this is a very interesting possibility, that truth requires a relation between myself and other. Right? And this is something that we see throughout philosophy, but Levinas is making it very explicit here. Right? I think I will put off saying anything more about that, except just to again emphasize that revelation implies truth. The divine, the true, are revealed in the face of the other. But there's yet one more sense of revelation here. The word revelation refers also biblically to the apocalypse, right? And there is, for Levinas, something that is also apocalyptic about the other person, about the other, in that the other is capable of bringing my world to an end, right? to its apocalypse, right? To reveal what is concealed to me, concealed within my world. Right? The other is able to reveal truths that will be apocalyptic to myself. And so for Levinas, the